Okay, it's in progress. Okay. So first of all, let three of us summarize each author's opinion and their point of view. And starting from me, I'm responsible for summarizing the first article, which was written by a freshman majoring as electrical engineering. And his opinion is quite simple and is similar to mine. He finds out online education is damaging physical and mental health at the same time, and then like he thinks despite online education is a trend, but like is still doing poor job like taking care of students, like managing their own physical and mental health. There's more to improve. Yeah, I think like he's by the end, he said human beings are resilient and like once we go back, it will become better. So this is his opinion. Like he didn't have a great experience. Yeah, so this is what first author talked about. So yep. So go on to the next, Aaron.
So I'm doing the second article, and um, it's written by Shu Yao Li, and it's about the informatic infodemic.
Yeah,
It's about the infodemic. So basically, uh, the author is trying to say many people are trying to spread the unconfirmed information, um, like the author give an example, the COVID, like a banana carries the COVID. So it makes people kind of scared about the banana. So uh, the author is trying to just to persuade the reader to only share the information when you convince it's the truth. Like we also read a parties reading about like similar to this when during the class it's about the journalism. So basically, journalism have the response to just share the true information. So I think the reader for this article should also be journalism and also us student.
right.
Okay, so I'm gonna summarize the third article. The third article is written by Rebecca He, and she was talking about how she grew during the remote learning. And she said during the remote learning she began to have regular exercises every day, and she also mentally grow a lot because she was talking about she see some counselors, and she thinks that the remote learning is really help her grow a lot. So yeah, that's the third article.
Yeah. All right, that's nice. So I think we should go on to the question Brian has brought us. So,
Okay.
first question, what challenge did you meet during remote learning?
Okay, I'm gonna first talk about myself because yeah, I took a gap year last year, and because I met a challenge because of the internet connection. Yeah, I had a problem submitting one of my exams during the third or fourth week. Yeah, on my major courses, economics courses. So I got a zero for that exam. That sucks, and so I decided that I should probably take a gap year because this kind of problems will happen pretty, like I expect it to happen many times during this year.
Wow.
So yeah, that's why I took a gap year, and because I met this challenge, I think it seemingly is not very likely to that I could solve that I was able to solve that problem.
All right, that's important. The internet connection is one of the most important factor when dealing with online education, right?
Yeah, I'm surprised that none of them wrote about this.
Yeah, but like because like nowadays like 4G 5G like less and less people are experiencing like internet technological difference, but things happen, like different people have like different situation are in different situations. Yeah, what
Yeah, but
about you,
I
Aaron?
also think
Yeah. Hey,
okay,
you
I
can.
also think that when people like writing papers, and they have to search for like evidences online. Like especially for us when we are in China, we don't have really have access to some of the websites, so we have to go like get like a VPN to search for those information.
Yeah, and the school VPN is really slow. It's slow. It's really,
Yeah.
really slow.
I think it does well because when I use school VPN, it just if you only search for the like some document, and I think it's doing good.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't do a lot of researching last year. My major courses are all like math and stats. So the
Oh.
only thing I did was taking exams.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I have to find a place where like the stable like to have stable internet connection, right?
Yeah, I always studying in my room, so I guess the internet is very stable, so I
Yeah.
haven't have any internet issues.
Mhm.
So are you guys
But I heard,
experiencing any like
yeah,
physical like challenges? Like for
yeah,
me, it's just like I strongly agree with like the first author wrote about. Like my back hurt, my neck hurt because I have to sit there for the whole day. Because like last like in the past year, especially the past summer, I took an internship as well as the summer course
Wow.
as well as doing a research with one of the professors. So like my workload
Man.
is really, really pressuring me a lot. So I have to sit on my chair the whole day, like 20, not 20 hours, but like at least 14, 15 hours a day. So like by not like standing up and like doing any exercise, I have to get massage at the night in order to like reboost.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the next day I will just having trouble get up from bed. It's horrible.
Yeah. I totally get it.
Yeah. So anything else
and
you guys want to add?
yeah, and for me, I don't actually have some physical challenging, but I do have the mentally challenging when during last year the internet studying. So basically, because I'm not that kind of like a study person, so I don't like to studying at all.
Me too.
I shouldn't say that, but I just don't like to sit on in front of the computer. So last year we have to took the online classes, and some of my professor, because I study math, and they just recording the teach, and they even have a Zoom. So it just depends on you. If you look at the recording video they post, then you can study. Otherwise, you can also just look through the textbook. So I haven't watched any of the reading they post because I think they I think those students, because they are old, so they not kind of familiar with the computer. So when they're recording the video, it just very long and slow. Like for example, this is my normal speed, voice speed. Like I'm Aaron, but when they doing that, they just like I am Aaron. So really slow. So I just don't like to watch that. So I decided to just watch the video by myself. But it come to another problem because if you only watch the textbook, and because they just post a video and they don't even have a like communication time like via Zoom,
Right. Right.
because
Yeah.
as you are in China, their office hour is usually at midnight, like 2 a.m. in the morning or 3
Uh-huh.
a.m. in the morning. So it's really a challenge. And so every time I didn't watch the video, I feel guilty about that. And as come to the exam, I didn't do well on the exam. It comes like I'm even more guilty about it because I pay a
It's okay.
lot
I
for the
mean,
college, but just didn't.
Yeah, I have a question for you guys. So, did you guys have synchronous classes or
yeah.
asynchronous classes?
So yeah, luckily for me, I don't have any synchronous class. Like all
Ah,
my classes are recording. So like I decided to watch it in the morning. So I'll do all my homework throughout the day. But like my friends was experiencing, I don't know if Aaron is in that situation, like where he has to like people have to attend like midnight sessions. Guys, it was torture. Like my friends is having trouble sleeping and having like mental issues because of that. So
Yeah, I mean that could be challenging. Like, how do you do a schedule? Like, do you sleep and wake up in the middle of night and take a class and then go back to sleep, or you just stay awake? You like you live in China, but you actually live an American schedule.
right. Yeah,
Yeah.
right. So like just one of the writer wrote about this. Like they woke up when everybody goes home. It's just like he sleeps at 10 a.m. like and then like wake up 6 p.m. then when everybody goes home. So like he just missed all the fun he could have like in physically, right? So he has to like stay up all night to do the work
Uh-huh.
and then like get this going like day by day and it's really torture.
Yeah.
And I also think that because when you do the online studying, you're actually just sitting in your room, and it's not a good environment for you to study. Like for me, I prefer to go to library to study because when you're looking at all the other students as they're
Yeah,
studying, you just want to do something about studying.
right,
Else,
right.
like I'm studying in my room, then I will watch some next view and some video and watch
Yeah, there's
some
so
novel.
yeah, there's so much distraction when you are like in my room. Like I have that giant laptop and Xbox on my desk. So like I couldn't help myself like taking my eyes from that. Oh God. It was torture.
Okay, I think I'm kind of the opposite. I mean, like I never and I don't go to library if it's necessary because I like to like study in a really quiet environment. Like when
Mm,
I'm in the library, I have trouble like to focus when people are
mm.
walking near me and the keyboard clipping and the people eating the sound. Yeah, I always like to stay in my own room, really quiet environment.
Right. Like this comes to like everybody likes different things, right? Like everybody are in different situations. So like this right now, I think is a good time, like where people can choose either like online or offline or in person, right? So like if you are a person who like likes to attend to class, there's option. If you want to stay at your home, there's option, right? So I think it's this quarter actually um take like educating well, I would say. This quarter, there's like a lot of chance for you to choose both options. So you don't have to choose one, right? That's
Yeah.
nice. This is nice.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I also
So
think for the authors that yeah, the first author and third author they have actually opposite opinions. Like the first author is
yeah.
talking about how the remote learning damaged their lives, and the third author was talking about how she grew during the remote learning. Yeah.
Yo, that's
yeah,
I agree with both of them, to be honest. Like
Yeah.
during the summer, that's 3 months. And then at the beginning, I thought like, okay, here's my little room. Because I rent apartment because I have to go to the internship in Beijing where I don't have my house. So like I have to rent apartment. At the beginning, I thought, oh, this is my own apartment, no distraction. And then I just focus. I work like 15 hours a day. So like I'm super efficient at the beginning, but like as the time goes, after 1.5 months, like my back start hurting. I have trouble sleeping, all this kind of stuff. Oh my God. It was like at the beginning I developed self-behaving and then like every efficient method you guys can ever imagine about. So like, but after is where the first author point, right? So it's like mentally and physically damaged.
but I think like I actually want to add something more to it because I think both online studying and in-person study are both well, but it actually really depends on the professor because there's a professor in math department called Hydrology.
Oh, hi, Josie.
So I I'm he's very good at math, but I'm trying to say just he maybe not that good at teaching because I took one of his class and during I don't know how to say that because when you have some math problem you don't know and you trying to ask him, he just keeps saying this just a very simple question. Why did you guys just didn't know this simple question? Then he just keep in talking this and didn't tell us how to do it. I didn't go to his office hour, but many of my friends did, and both of them said it's just not helpful at all. But
That's
you know,
bad.
there's another math professor called like Zhang Yitang. His math class just very easy, and I didn't choose his math 108 this quarter. I choose Professor Pong's math 108. And one of my friend is in Zhang Yitang's class, and he said Zhang Yitang just, oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm in that class.
Yuan was in Zhang Yitang's class,
Right.
and like his class was just so easy and smooth. But in my class, I asked my friend to come to my class and see if he understand what Professor Pons was talking about, and he just said, it's kind of familiar, but just don't know how to do the question.
Right.
Like
Polish
you
is
know
really
what the
hard.
question is, like every word you know what's that mean, but when you connect those words together, you don't know what the hell is that. So I think
Right. So I think
despite the online class and in person, just it really depends on the professors teaching speed.
right. Yeah, because during the pandemic, like many professors cooperate with each other, you know, like they have combined classes. All of their material are the same, right? I took one of the stats class where like one professor teach the Monday session, the other teaches Wednesday section, and so they have only like 1 day of work every week. So that's really like making like good convenient for them, but like somehow their teaching styles are different. So like students are experiencing difficulty understanding, you know. And then like especially the Professor Zhang, you talked about, my friend took his class the past summer, and then like he's like, is sorry to say that, but he's really bad at technology. So like he delay his lecture, he do not respond to his emails. So like that I wrote in my essay, because like I see you have to, people like students has to hold on to their confusions to wait for professor to deliver their delayed responses, right? You have to hold that until he respond, at least 1 or 2 business day. Whereas if you are in person at school, so like you can just go up after class, just ask, right?
Yeah.
Like recording or synchronous Zoom, probably a little interaction between professor and students, but asynchronous recordings, there's just completely cut off. The connection is just completely cut off. Yeah, so yeah, I think that basically answers the question for like what you guys think.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like we can just answer question 4 along the side when we talk about question 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, I feel like Aaron just answered a lot about the question 4.
Right, right. That's good. Brian, you have anything to add for question 1?
No, I think that's it.
All right. Yeah, so let's go on to next question. How you define misleading information? Oh, yeah.
Identify, like, yeah, so the misleading information is like, it's not one thing that's special, that it occurred long before the pandemic, but I think during the pandemic it caused a lot more trouble than the pandemic itself. Yeah, I think that's what the author was talking about.
Right, right. I strongly agree with that. Like people before things one off, like you guys definitely heard about 莲花清瘟. It's a kind of medicine in China which cure cold and fever, which has nothing to do with COVID. And then like people are crazy about it. Like they just every place, every pharmacy you go is out of stock in China. Like people are just crazy about this medicine, but it has actually nothing to do with curing the pandemic, curing the COVID. So like people even mailing this kind of medicine like to United States to avoid this, but they failed to do so, like because some fake news or some fake journalist said that this would help, right? Yeah, this is one of the thing I thought that is important. And then like a lot of abuse and violence was caused, right? Because like everybody says COVID was originated from China, right? So even Asian Americans or like American Chinese kids, right? We don't want to stay here because like somehow we are like rejected from restaurants, right? It's like
Discriminated.
yeah, we're not allowed to go in to eat because I don't know, whatever reasons, right? Yeah.
And
Yeah, so
I want to continue for Steven's talk about, because Steven talked about the medical code in Huaqiwen in China. I think it's kind of useful, though it's not for COVID, because like our government also encourages people when if you get cold or you feel you have a COVID, take some Lianhua Qingwen, because sometimes people are not actually have the COVID-19, but they just have a normal cold or have a fever, but they are scared about having a COVID-19. So government asks people to take Lianhua Qingwen because it can actually reduce the scare among people, because when they get cold and they take that medicine, they just like come back to normal. So they know they are not the COVID-19. So I think it's kind of mappy when you're doing that.
Okay,
So,
I didn't know that at the first place, like from what you talk about, like, but some journalists or some news just wrote like this medicine cure COVID because like what the
that's
government
misleading information. But
yeah, the government
actually,
message was
Chinese government actually did talk about like people should take Lianhua Qingwen when if you have some you have some sympathy with the COVID-19.
Yeah, once you have symptoms.
Yeah, it does alleviate the symptoms.
Right. So like because their symptoms are very similar, right? Yeah. Oh, that's like like this kind of thing, like journalists misunderstanding or like, and then like they wrote just wrong newses which like misleading government's message.
Yeah.
Like, just misguiding people. That's bad.
I think this actually connect to the reading, like the professor asked me to read during the class. So she actually gave us to sheet about the like misleading information. So basically that article is about the author is giving a speech about if the journalism should take a stand, like they should take a side of it, because for example, the Xinjiang carton, the news Xinjiang carton. So it's an example like the journalist was taken a side of it, like they are not the Chinese, but they report the thing happening in China.
Right.
Yeah, that news.
Yeah.
So it's a misleading information.
Right. There's a bunch of, I think, how do you identify misleading information, right? Like one of the most important lesson I learned back in high school, in like I studied in a US high school, and like one of the most important lesson is like critical thinking, right? You have to think critically. You have to like think, oh, this is scientifically approved, right? Or like it's just like making assumptions without any evidence, right? You have to think this critically, even though like you tend to believe, right? Like for example, for example, that medicine, right? It cures symptoms of cold, but like, and the symptoms are very similar, and they may draw a connection to COVID, but actually there's lack of investigation and there's lack of evidence to show the result, right? So like you have to think critically and not easily making assumptions. I think that's how you can avoid some misleading informations.
Yeah. So yeah, Frank.
But yeah, I think about the misleading information that like people who wrote these articles, they have specific target the audience they targeted like who will read my article, like Aaron just talking about the Xinjiang incident, and you know that those people, they before they read the article, they have already formed their opinion, so they don't read the article to achieve a point of view. They read the article to find the evidence to support their point of view. So
Right.
that's the worst. Like they specifically find this misleading information to support their own ideas. So that if
Right.
that's so, I think there's nothing we can do about that.
Yeah, so just be neutral. Like whatever you're reading, before you read, you have to be neutral and be like, just not easily believing whatever they wrote, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I want to ask, so you guys both agree with the second paragraph's author's opinion, like we should just transfer the information only when we know it's truth, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like,
Yeah. Yes.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
basically it. But like I think Mrs. B talked down during class, like it's really hard to find a journalist who write completely unbiased truth, right? It's really
Yeah.
hard for anybody to do so. And so like what we can do is just, first of all, identify if the evidence providing in the article is true or false. And then like, even though it's biased, it doesn't matter like if it's biased, like we just gather that like true unbiased evidence to support, like we have our own bias, right? Like we tend to think one way rather than the other. So
yeah,
like just like neutral evidence, and evidence are neutral, they're just facts. But like somehow what the language journalists could use, or like the thesis they use could be biased, but we have our own thesis, right? Yeah, the key is to find true evidence, not like assumptions they made.
Yeah, I also agree with you guys, and I also want to like mention a word called transparency. Like it's in news, like when you get some information, you don't know if it's true or false. So you also put on the information, like how you get this information and where do you get this information. So you just you don't know what the information you bring about is true or not, but you can let the reader to decide it, because you also mentioned how can you get this information. So just like increase the probability for reader to distinguish if the information you should trust or not.
Yeah, like after this quarter, like I realized reading news is not that easy. You have to think, right?
yeah.
Not like even the news, you couldn't believe everything, right? Yeah.
Usually when I reading the news, I do not take any like side of it. I always wait until everything is done. Like for example, the Xinjiang cartel, I don't know what's going on, but so I decide not to say anything. I just wait until everything is done.
Yeah, that's that's what you should do, right? Not simply be biased. It's
Yeah,
like even like the national news, right? Even like national news is either from China, like even from government, like those politicians, right? They even spread biased messages, right? It's by their leader of the country, no matter if they're leader of the country or like just simple journalists, right? So I think you guys have anything to add about for question 2?
I think that's good enough.
I think that's good.
Yeah. Good. Okay. So let's go on to the next question. Do you think that you achieve personal growth during remote learning? What do you guys?
This question I designed especially for you guys. I cannot answer it, because I took a gap year. So yeah.
Yeah, I think yeah. But I don't know.
Like you were talking about, in the summer you had you had classes, you took a internship, and you did research. So do you think that somehow help you with like dealing with pressure?
Yeah, like I grow, like to be honest, I grow a lot. My cognition has grown a lot during the past year. Like in 2019, I was a naive freshman who worries about nothing, like who worries about no mental health, no future, like no job, no grades, right? Even GPA is not the most important thing during college. And then like I was just like taking chills, and then like during the past year where I sit down talk to my parent, right? I went back home. I think all you guys did. I went back home. I talked to my parents. So like they were asking me to be serious about my academic work. So like I just like grow a little bit by each day. So like I have to find a job. Like sometimes you grow from scratch. It's a really hard thing to do. It's like you have zero knowledge about something and you start learning. And then like I think past year I I learned a lot to be honest. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really great.
Yeah, I think everybody did, right? Because like there's nothing else you can do.
I think, yeah, Steven actually did learn something during the remote period, but I think that's not through remote learning. Like if you took a gap year last year, you can still go to the internship and you still learn something. I think
Yeah.
like for this question, I think it's like more about if you think like online learning is actually help you to learn more than you when you are in person learning.
I think what's greatest about online class is like when you're watching a recording, you can pause. Right?
Oh,
Like
yeah.
when you watch a recording, you can pause. Like before, like despite before it was like, for example, 1 hour class. It took 1 hour to listen and learn, right? And last year it took like 2 hours and then even more than 2 hours to complete. But I got the knowledge more, I would say more sophisticated or more comprehensive, right?
Yeah.
People, every word, every sentence professor said about is important. So
Mhm.
it really, that aspect really helped. But other, just like I said before, where like people have to wait for their question to be answered for a really long time. It's really bad. It's really diminishing the effectiveness of learning, right? Yeah, I think
Yeah, and for me, I just don't like the remote learning at all.
yeah,
Okay.
because probably like people with synchronous class is really having a trouble. You have to decide
Uh-huh.
for 3 a.m. class, do you sleep or not? Or do you stay up? Or like you sleep and wake up? God, it's torture. It's torture.
Yeah.
So, yep, I think we you guys have anything to add about for question 3? Right. Pass. I'll pass.
Okay. Then shall we go to question 4?
Yeah, I think along the way we talked about how we think online remote learning is more efficient or not. I think yeah, it's just like what I said.
Yeah,
A bit.
I have something more to talk about question 4. So I did get remote learning for the spring quarter of 2020. Before June, before I went back to China, I was staying in Santa Carolina. I actually think that remote learning is more efficient. Because I was living in Santa Carolina, and every day I spent a lot of time on my way to the school and back from the school. So yeah, and
Yeah, it saves
and I
time.
think I think I think I saved a lot of time in that quarter. So I'm gonna say that according to my experience at that quarter, it's definitely more efficient.
Right, I agree. It
Hmm.
saves a lot of logistic.
Hmm.
Like it's just you have to take a bus. We're like walking around between classrooms.
Mhm.
All takes time.
Yeah.
You know, like take a 40-minute bus is really exhausted.
Mhm.
Yeah, as the author mentioned in his paragraph, free like taking 30 minutes every day to do it.
Yeah.
Mm.
And I think we didn't mention about like how the authors target his audience.
Our target audience is us, right?
Yeah.
Like students.
Yeah, it's students.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this
it's
is
absolutely
from
students.
this is from UCSB newspaper, right? So like the
Yeah.
target is us who reads.
Yeah, so
Maybe the
firstly it's
professors, the
from
lecturers.
students newspaper, and second, it just mentioned the like school life, so I think it's pretty much for students.
Yeah, it's really like provoke advocating, right? Is it the correct word? Yeah, it's like because we are in the similar situation where we can develop a similar feelings towards an author's idea, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's it for today. Aaron, you probably like get down some opinion profiler. If yeah, you can. I'll just watch back and then like get some different perspective from each of us, and then just you can put like you and Brian's name, my name, and then like our different perspectives, and then I think for summary, yeah, I'll write some, but like I don't think I'll get like the entire. I'll
So
cover the entire conversation we had. So like you guys, please, you guys, if you remember something else, just add it to that because we don't
yeah,
have
so
any.
so we just do the summary together, and
Yeah,
I do the opinions portfolio,
yeah,
like as
I'm
we
the
mentioned before.
yeah,
And
I'm the logistical reporter. I'll upload
Okay.
this.
like
I'll
so
upload
we
this
just
and
summarize what we remember, then you guys can add to it, like, right?
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
no problem.
Yeah.
Yep. So good night, guys. Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye.
Happy Thanksgiving, guys.
Yeah,
You too.
you guys have fun.
Happy holiday.
Have fun.
Bye bye.
Bye. Thank you.